See both of the coxes with their hands in the air. Anna Dames on the left in the Bayer Leverkusen crew. Sam Royston on the right. The hands go down, the hands go up again from Sam Royston. Attention! Go! And they're beautiful conditions on the start, so those arms don't need to be up for long. The crews are straight and the crews are getting away. And is that Leander crew going to drift out towards Bayer Leverkusen? I don't think so. They're moving very smoothly away, both crews.
Both crews really reasonably steady the first 2 or 3 strokes, but then winding it up really, really well. I think both these crews are going to transition into good rhythms, actually. And both very clean blade work from both sides.
Yeah, they're good, clean blade work on this side of the island where it's sheltered. The interesting bit will be now when they come out the top of the island, because we've seen in previous races it gets a little bit bumpy as they come out of the island, get into the area where the pleasure boats and umpires' launches and TV cameras are moving around. They'll feel those conditions. And Leander looking to transition into that rhythm, as you say, but Bayer Leverkusen going stroke for stroke with them, and if anything, maybe Bayer Leverkusen moving up. Yeah,
they really seem to have transitioned into a rhythm a bit earlier. There's a couple of guys in this crew who were in the Brit-winning 4 from last year. And they put together a really good 8 here, and Leander are one of the favoured crews, and yet they're being led by probably a canvas a minute and a half into the race.
Yeah, so as you say, Adrian, it's the Bayer Leverkusen crew who have 2 returning winners, which is what's allowed within the Thames Cup rules. And the club events, you're allowed a quarter of your crew can be previous winners. Leander have no previous winners in this crew, but they're a young, largely group of athletes who are looking to develop. And now that Leander crew seems to have settled and hit their rhythm, perhaps handling difficult conditions a little better than the Bayer Leverkusen crew, and now just easing out.
It just seemed like they wheel spun a little bit and took a bit longer to transition into their rhythm, but now really long, powerful rhythm, and they're just moving inch by inch through that Bayer Leverkusen crew.
That's been a dominant move, hasn't it, for about the last 30 seconds or so. The crews were side by side, Bayer Leverkusen maybe even starting to ease out, and then Leander just hit this pace.
Yeah, they have.
Long, powerful strokes just seem to be moving the boat just a little bit further every single stroke.
And it's one of the hard things when you're racing. You're very nervous and you want to try and get some maximum boat speed, but actually that doesn't win you the race, and you need to transition into something really sustainable. And sometimes even good crews just spin a bit too long and aren't confident enough just to sit back a bit more and take a bit more time and just lay down a bit more power. And as soon as Leander did that, it made a massive difference to their boat speed.
Well, when you see an 8 moving together like that and the blades get locked, the boat moves forwards, and it just looked like it surged just a little bit further every single stroke. And it's made a big difference for this Leander crew.
And Leverkusen seem to be maybe slightly higher, picking a few more strokes a minute, and they're really tough. They're really sticking in there, steering maybe a little bit, steering towards Leander a bit closer over towards them, but still Leander leading, I think.
And I'm going to be harsh now, but the blade work in the Bayer Leverkusen crew just not quite as tidy in the blades from this unflattering angle. Look like they don't quite get locked and stay locked as effectively as those Cerise blades of Leander.
Yeah, indeed. I think if you look at the puddles, there's just more water. It looks a bit more frothy water, and that means the blades aren't really holding in deep enough and keeping the power in the blade, whereas Leander is much, much tidier and darker puddles.
It's interesting, isn't that? Dark puddle or a big puddle. Generally when you're rowing you want to be making these big puddles, and as we look here, the Leander boat, you can see the waves on there as the wake that they're having to cut through, but it's not disturbing the flow of the boat at all. No,
they're managing it really very well. I think that's one of the misconceptions for the foreign crews. I think it's quite hard in the few days leading up. Actually, it's not very pleasant to row here. It's really bouncy with all the pleasure cruisers, and you have to be skillful to deliver your best performance.
We see a close-up there of James Fox right in the middle of the picture who you were telling us about earlier, Adrian, a Paralympic champion.
Yeah, both in London and in Rio. He was in the LTA 4, and now he's coming down to run with some of the club guys at the club and at Leander.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. Leander Club being in communication with the Henley stewards in the build-up to the regatta to explain that he sits well within this crew. Physiologically seems to fit well within this crew, and so he's here racing in a club event as we see them coming towards us and really moving efficiently and well together.
Yeah, they're looking like one of the favourite crews in the event, and they look like they're one of the favourite crews. Really nice and clean, boats very well poised, and there you go, nice view from behind of the Leander 8.
Yeah, and taking a look at them there. Bertie Woodward Fisher in the stroke seat, 6'5". It's 195 centimetres, 86 kilos. a long stroke that he rows, and that long stroke's being picked up by everyone behind him, backed up well by Christopher Ray behind him, another big man at about 6'5", 196 centimetres as well. And I always think a good, powerful 7-man really helps, Adrian.
Yeah, he does. It helps transition the rhythm over to the other side of the boat and really set the platform from the crew. And here you can see Leander now just starting to move clear water away. I think Bayer Leverkusen, they're going to do their very best, but there's nothing they can do to get back on terms, I don't think.
Yeah, it's very difficult from there as they're coming down towards the enclosures. And we've talked a bit about these Leander rowers. Bertie Woodward Fisher, winner of the Princess Elizabeth Cup in 2015 in that fantastic St Paul's 8, coached by Bobby Thatcher, and now coached by Mark Banks, who we can see in that following launch. And the crew really moving well. Coming into focus there, Mark Banks to the left. Richard Stanhope stood up in the centre as the umpire. And Mark will be pleased with this crew and their performance so far.
Yeah, now Leander in a position now, if they're confident enough just to keep the stroke rate up, back off a little bit on the power and just save a little bit for tomorrow.
Well, the Thames Cup's a fantastic event because there's more entries in it than we can allow here. 32 entries get to come through and have the opportunity to race. It means you've got to race 5 days back to back. This is the middle day, the Wednesday. But Leander can't afford to let up really here as they're coming past the progress board. They won't be able to need to sprint, but the progress board, about the last 10 strokes, come into the line. They'll be able to enjoy these without really putting the hammer down. They'll need that tomorrow. And on Sunday, if they're lucky enough to be racing Sunday, here we see that Leander crew coming across the line. A little bit of clear water. See how pleased Sam Royston is with it. Head of that Bayer Leverkusen crew, where the heads are going to drop down. So confirmation there in the Thames Cup, the win for Leander Club over the Rowing, Tennis and Hockey Club from Bayer Leverkusen.